Greetings, everyone, and welcome to MOI. And this is your host, Reed. Today I wanted to start on a topic of videos mainly about discussion and ideas I have, things I like to ponder and think about. I figure it's a good thing, like discussion. Plus, I like hearing from other people get their ideas and opinions on stuff. It really helps me ferment and solidify my own thoughts on everything. And I thought I'd talk about, people becoming preppers or getting into it, sort of give my origin of how I got into this. Now, like I said in the past, as a child, I've always been curious about everything. Loved to play with stuff. Really was often interested in, how is this made? When you think about things, is how much goes into just something so simple as a paperclip. All the mining, the refining, then the machining to bend it, and everything else. There's a lot involved. And you don't really see that talked about or discussed or even taught in schools. What it takes to manufacture something. And it often occurred to me, if there was a problem, what do we do? Kind of strange things for a small child to think about. And one of the things I was always interested in was making candles. I made candles for the longest time as a small child, and I caught my clothes on fire a few times as well. Let me tell you, my mother was just thrilled to see giant holes burn through my pajamas. Yeah. And I was threatened many times to never be allowed to do these things again, but like I've mentioned, I'm a stubborn person and always curious, so they really couldn't stop me. I will always find a way. But anyways, now one thing I've noticed that's been going on that's really got me thinking that something is going to happen. I've long thought for a long time that unfortunately our generation, I say Gen X and younger, is going to live through a major shift and upheaval in the world. We're kind of overdue in my own mind. This is all my opinion, obviously, what I think. And I've thought that for a long time. But lately, I've been thinking it may be sooner than I ever expected. The reason for that is it's kind of odd. It seems like in the collective consciousness of everyone is talking about some form of calamity is coming. If it's not for the mainstream media always talking about the world is doomed from climate change and global warming, it's something else, or nuclear war is around the corner. But what's interesting to me is how it's not confined to a small group anymore. Thus, us preppers or survivalists or people interested in preparedness, it's everywhere you look. They're talking about cyber attacks to the grid. We're hearing about this. Now, of course, there could be a giant bias in the system saying that, everyone wants to hear doom and gloom and fear and you got to do this. Because fear really is the giant driver in everything. Fear is what drives so much of what we do as people. It's a deeply ingrained instinct we all have. And you could use fear to be able to, get the clicks, get the stories, sell the papers, everything else. And of course, this video itself can sort of be, fear porn, as they like to say. But I think we should start talking about these deeper discussions. And it's interesting to me is how many mainstream people that don't even think about this now are getting a lot more curious. And it makes me wonder if maybe, collectively, a large chunk of people do know something is coming. Of course, I could be completely and utterly wrong. Like I said, I'm no prophet, and this is just my opinion. So take as you will. Now, speaking of using something like the word prophet, where did I come from about this? Well, I was always, like I said, interested in it, playing with stuff like that. But I didn't get really serious about it until several years ago. And it's kind of odd. See, I'm religious. I'm just not, like I said, in-your-face religious. It's just, I was remembering an old Bible story. The story of Joseph when he interprets the dreams of Pharaoh. And he talks about how there will be 7 years of plenty for us to gather, store things away, put it away. And then there will be 7 years of great, horrible famine, which changed everything. And the story goes on to talk about how Joseph led the people through famine and established agricultural policy and everything else for Egypt. It's a very interesting story itself. But at the time, when I remembered that and thought about it, it really spoke to me in a much deeper way. Sort of like saying, the Father is saying, hey, Reed, wake up. You need to do something. And so I started really getting serious about it. In the past, I was just playing with stuff, gear, playing with toys to like make fire, all sorts of stuff. And not like seriously saying, okay, everything's coming apart. What do I need? And that's what changed me, is I started thinking about that real hard and feeling the burden on it. And that's what I really dug in. Now, other people, they're going to dig in for some other reason. Like they're going to think about, hey, our world of today, it's crazy complex. And cascading failures can happen so easily. And it takes forever for even a small disaster to be addressed by the government if they have the resources. Maybe I should do something. Events like Katrina were a big wake up to people. Then look what happened in Puerto Rico with Hurricane, I think it was Maria. And, the place was like an apocalyptic wasteland for months and months and months. And people didn't go completely crazy. It wasn't like Mad Max immediately, because one of the things that's interesting about that is there was hope. People knew help was coming. It was only a matter of time till things are restored. What if we get an event that changes the whole world? Suddenly, everyone is in crisis. Everyone in the world needs help and assistance. What do? Well, you don't really have hope. Help is coming because everyone needs help right now. And there isn't enough systems in place to deal with that. That's what really sometimes drives people, is when you think about something like that, yeah, you need to provide for yourself. Now, am I saying, within 7 years, the world will be changed forever? No, I don't know. The thing is, history, and a lot of times the stuff that we see happen or is driven by God's hand, what has happened and what is to happen, they're not the same, but they're similar. So I don't entirely know when or what's coming. I just felt a great push to prepare and put things away. And that's sort of where I was coming from in all this. And I was actually, like I said, a big collector of knowledge. I'm going to be making lots of videos about my knowledge and building things to show people, here's how you do these things. And some of the things I've had to rediscover that are simplistic, like we went to ancient times and talk about making certain things, people would laugh, oh, that is so silly. I learned that as a small child. But for me, not doing some of these things, well, that's a big challenge. There's a lot of nuance from seeing like, a father teach his son or a mother teach their daughters how to do something that without the tradition and the history of it, I have no idea. So I have some long, difficult, hard thought, lessons that I'll share with everyone. But I also want to do these discussion videos. I'd love to hear your stories out. What really got you interested in this? What motivated you? Where are you coming from? I like hearing about them. So like if you came here because you're worried about climate change and what we're going to do about that, welcome. Even though I may disagree with you on some of the points of it, putting stuff away and prepping is very important. If you came here because you believe the grand solar minimum is going to take place and we're all going to freeze, welcome. I will gladly share all my knowledge I have with you as well so that you're prepared. If you came here because of asteroids, nuclear war, EMP, everyone's welcome. I want us all to be as prepared as we can so whatever happens, we can all get together, rebuild, and survive. That's my main goal, is to build a community of people to survive whatever happens together. And I need to talk about that, and I'll discuss it and just go over the long-range plans as I get more people on the channel. And now that we've got around 340 people, which is awesome, thank you for coming here, it's time to really start digging in on stuff. Some of the things I'm really going to dig into is government models initially, sort of how to organize, stuff like that, and how we start putting things together as groups and form. As much as we want to say we'll be ready, that's sort of a lie we tell ourselves. No matter what, no one is really ready for a world-changing event. We all have a huge normalcy bias, and there's no way we can even imagine all that's going to happen. So we have to be as flexible and as adaptable as we possibly can to be able to manage it. And that means also being able to engage and work with different people, and people we may not fully agree with. We're never going to be able to have this perfect union and cohesion of society. It just doesn't exist. We have to be prepared in an emotional and mental state to be able to work with other people to survive and not turn into monsters ourselves. And that's why I will revisit my monster series as well. Anyways, this is my video for today on discussion. Let me know what you think. Jump in, give me ideas. Love to hear them. Take care, everyone. Have a lovely evening. And this is Reed, out for now.